Hello everyone, today is April 2nd, 2020. Welcome to Reflections from the Prayer of Recollection. Today we're looking at Luke 20, 1 through 8. Not 21, chapter 20, verses 1 through 8. And I'm going to go ahead and read that for us. One day as Jesus was teaching the people and preaching the good news in the temple, the leading priests, the teachers of religious law, and the elders came up to him. They demanded, "By what authority are you doing these things? Who gave you the right?" "Let me ask you a question first," he replied. "Did John's authority to baptize come from heaven, or was it merely human?" They talked it over among themselves. "If we say it is from heaven, he will ask us why we didn't believe in John. But if we say it was merely human, the people will stone us because they are convinced that John was a prophet." So finally, they replied that they didn't know. And Jesus responded, "Then I won't tell you by what authority I do these things." So this is a really interesting verse. I thought about this for a long time. So here's a few reflections that struck me. First is the significance of how the question that he replied with. My impression was that he was basically saying the reason he asked about John's authority is because it's the same question and the same answer. And I feel like he was saying, you've already had the chance to get the answer to this question in your own beliefs about John. And he gave them the opportunity to say what their beliefs were, and they wouldn't, or couldn't, however you wanted to look at it, because they were afraid. So in this, you see both in their question and in their answer to Jesus' question, you see both duplicity and malice. These are a couple of the words that I learned from reading one of Dallas's books. I can't remember, and I've looked for this and I can't find it again. I don't think I just thought it up. If you know where it is, you can tell me. But he talks about duplicity and malice. And he talks about this in the context of realizing our own brokenness. That sometimes we think we're not so bad, but we're not really looking honestly at ourselves. And if we take an honest look, we will see that we do have duplicity and malice in our hearts. So duplicity, he explains, is when you don't show people who you truly are. You try to be someone that you're not, and try to be the person that you think they want you to be, rather than being your true self. And of course, we have to do this when we're not walking with Jesus, because, well, I guess there's probably lots of reasons. One is that our true self is not pretty. We need to hide that because we realize how ugly it is. And two is probably that we're living to impress other people. And so we care what they think, and we try to put that image forward. And malice, he said, is when you have the desire, I guess you would call it, for someone else to be hurt or experience pain in some way. So, for example, if I were to see someone doing a poor job of parenting, and then something happens with their kids, maybe their kids become rebellious as teenagers, and if I were to think, well, I guess that was to be expected, and almost in sort of a savoring or a relishing way, like they deserve that, you see, that's malice, because I'm enjoying something bad happening to someone because it feels like they're kind of getting what they deserve. They did a bad job parenting. Therefore they deserve for their kids to be rebellious. Not directly, I wouldn't think that, but that would be under the underlying theme of what I'm thinking. And, if you look more carefully at that, what that really says is that I want a child to suffer. Their child being rebellious, that's a suffering for the child as it is for the parent. I want a child to suffer because it makes me feel better about myself as a parent. It makes me feel like I'm a good parent and they did poor at parenting. See how much better I am. Those are the underlying things. I'm just kind of unpacking a little bit of my own early journey following Dallas's suggestion that you search your own heart for duplicity and malice. And you may be surprised at what you find. I was surprised at what I found. And it helps you appreciate how much you need and want Jesus, not only to change you, but to save you from who you are. So that was a side trail. But the importance of duplicity and malice, that was what they had in their hearts. You see that coming out. Their malice, that they want to hurt Jesus with this. They want to trap him and hurt him with this question. And their duplicity in that they're not willing to own who they really are. They're not willing to say what their true beliefs are because of fear. And I think that Jesus didn't want to let them lead in this way. I mean, these are the most revered, important people in this culture who are doing this. And they're basically leading by example through duplicity and malice. And I don't think Jesus was going to be a part of that. He wasn't going to let them lead in that way. And he did not want to give them the power that they were basically trying to usurp from God by not receiving God, who was coming in the human of Jesus, and by also then trying to trap him. So here God is coming to them, and they're trying to usurp power from him. And he wasn't going to let that happen. You see how very strong Jesus is in this. I love that about him. He is so strong that he doesn't go to where they are, and he doesn't let their evil have the power they intended it to have. And I think that he is strong with us too, with the situations that we create in our own lives, the problems that we create. He is strong in that I think that he lets us experience them as our gift, that he can help get us out of the problems that we're creating. But first we have to experience the problems that we've created. And so he's very strong with us in that way too. And I think we can trust him to be strong with others. If we have people that we're even afraid of or that we think are unjust, I think we can trust Jesus to be the strong one with them in the way and in the time that he knows is right. And so I love knowing that this is the Jesus that's inside of me. I just praise you, Jesus, and I thank you.